Hello, and welcome to the AchieveUnite webinar. My name is Theresa Caragol. I'm the founder and CEO, and we're delighted to be here. And we're doing a drum roll of our audiences and our guests. Thank you, Sarah, for telling us that you can hear. So, thank you. I am thrilled to be talking about AI. There is so much happening in AI right now. And 2026 feels a little different. So, we're going to be chatting a lot about what's happening and what we need to be doing in our organizations around AI. So, let me introduce our guest of honor. Since Co joined first, we'll let him do his introduction. Drum roll for Superhuman. Go ahead, Co.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me here, Teresa. I'm excited to be here. Uh, Mistry, I'm the VP of Partnerships here at Superhuman. And again, Superhuman's probably a new name to many folks out there, but we were formerly known as Grammarly, which Grammarly is still an important product line for us. But we're kind of reinventing ourselves as really an AI forward productivity platform. And so excited to be here and obviously using a lot of what we are taking to market in our partnership model. So excited to talk about that today.
Thank you, Co. Jessica, our Chief Innovation Officer, and as I affectionately refer to you as the AI guru of gurus.
AI
So,
guru. I'm gonna have a t-shirt made up that says that, Teresa. Yeah. I'm happy to be here, right? AI is definitely a space that I'm very interested in, especially how it applies to where we all live every day, partners, channels, ecosystems. And I'm really excited to lead the Center for AI Strategy and Enablement here at Achieve Unite. And we're going to be talking all about that today.
thank you. Oh, Christin Grenier, we're so glad you joined us. Please
Tech-
introduce yourself.
Awesome. Thank you. Technology is sometimes so much fun. So I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be talking to Achieve Unite. So Christian Grenier, VP Channel Marketing for Talus. This is a topic that both Teresa and Jessica definitely have brought me on their journey. So I'm really, really excited to be talking about AI with you guys today and with Co.
And Co. Don't worry, Co. You're not an ant. We
Yeah.
put you right in the core. The Co is the rose. We'll make Co the rose between thorns today.
Um,
So,
Sounds
all
good.
right. Are you ready? Let's jump in. We have an amazing audience, and this will be available via recording after. So, with that, let's talk about 2026. Things are changing. You can feel a difference. Things are becoming much more mainstream. Jess, why don't you start us off? Give us what's different.
Yeah. So if 2025 was all about pilots and experimenting, 2026 is the year that we need to start pushing these things into production. We need to stop the experimenting and the ifs, I don't know what about things, and jump in because you're not going to get the economy of scale, the efficiencies, the productivities, and things like that. You'll just stay in pilot mode forever, and there's no ROI associated with being in pilot mode. So it is quickly becoming the business imperative for 2026. It's not optional anymore. If you're not doing it, trust me, your competitors are. And so this is the year really to double down, get the ideas of where AI can help you in your workflows, put them into practice, educate your teams, make it a really functional space for your teams and then also for your partners, right? So there's two different groups that we need to talk about here. And we really need to make sure that both constituents understand how to use the tool, understand why we're using the tool, and can use it to its best ability. So 2026 is the make it or break it year, as far as I'm concerned.
Great. And Kristen, I know you're also a security guru in addition to having a lot of experience in AI so far. So talk to us about what you think is critical in 2026 with AI.
Yeah, no. So I think for me, I kind of have two things. So one is really about education. So really making sure that the channel marketing team has a clear understanding about how they can be using AI to basically scale, right? So, this day and age, 2026, our teams are small. So we want to make sure that we're giving them all the tools and that they know how to actually be able to use AI to help in their day-to-day life. I think it's also overcoming like that fear and that AI is going to, change their tone or change their personality. So really, how do we make sure that they understand with better prompting and, understanding the tool in itself and how they can use it will really help. And obviously, this is what we've been working with AchieveUnite on. And I think the other part is then also helping our partners, making sure that they understand how they can use it in partnering and marketing with us. So, that's really been my focus is really being able to have an internal on how we can use it internally, and then also how can we use it in the different things that we're doing. I know we'll be talking more about this, but I think that Talus, we're still after a 2-year integration on being able to have, partner ecosystems come together, channel marketing come together. Right now, also the next part or the next phase will be about how do we make sure that there's an AI component in our tools. So looking at how we can use a TCMA tool, how we can look at leveraging AI more for our partner platform. So, it's an internal focus and then also like focus on that scale and experience. As Jessica said, we're no longer in that experimentation mode.
Yeah. Agreed, 100%. And I love that I really see you leaning into get this adoption thing is no joke and it's not easy. And you're really leaning into driving your team and incenting them and rewarding them. So congratulations on that and educating them, which is all, most important. You're in an AI organization, you're leading partnerships in AI ecosystems. You've been very AI forward with us. What's your view of this?
Yeah, a lot of it is coming back to how Jess really kicked us off, which is we're really seeing a major shift from AI in the experimentation world to productivity and engagement. How do you really start to lean into that? And you think about this across some of the components that even Kristen mentioned, which is it's around how your team engages and is, building their own productivity. How are you using those better engagement points with your partners? And then how are you empowering your partners to be more effective with their customers? And when you start to pile those together, it is more of an end-to-end approach. And I think the way we've historically looked at partnerships between the vendor and the partner and therefore to the customer, we're kind of reimagining that and really seeing more of an integrated ecosystem play. And so, especially in the world of AI, right? With the world of AI in itself, it's sort of assembling an entire solution that you can take to market in a very fast manner, right? And you don't have the time anymore that you saw in the past where it took 6 to 9 months to build a solution and take it to market. You're talking about days and weeks that you have to assemble this. And so how do you empower that entire chain to just work more productively and in a fast manner overall? So I think it is the year that we really take concepts to market and they become more executable. At the same time, but you have to become more measurable and accountable in this model.
Well, and I think that's an area you have really leaned into, And so why don't we start the next part of the conversation? Let's talk about where do you start with the partner ecosystem? Jess, you're doing an amazing job of educating them. But you're being quite disruptive. So talk to us about how you're doing that with the partner ecosystem and why you're making the choices you're making.
Yeah, absolutely. We have gone through an entire transformation as a company. If many people have used the product of Grammarly, Grammarly we kind of consider as one of the OG agents out there that's always helped you and assisted you in the way that you work. We've kind of taken that to the next level. So the product in itself that we're taking to market is now becomes almost an agent bench. So Grammarly becomes one agent that helps you, again, assisted you in your writing. However, now think about Grammarly's same concept into actually helping you be more productive across your integration into Salesforce and the insights that you have there, or a HubSpot and any other tool that you have that's a part of your ecosystem on how you run your own productivity tool set. And so we're kind of taking that and really starting to apply that towards our partnership model. And so we're kind of drinking our own champagne there and starting to apply that same concept to where we think about all of the challenges that our partners have with any vendor, which
Mhm.
is all of your information is really secured in your own partner portal or in the heads of our partner managers. And so how do you start to expose a lot of that information real time through an agent model? And so we're starting to build out the concept of a virtual partner manager and really starting to bring a lot of that information to the forefront of where partner sales reps are working or marketing reps are working. And so starting to bring that out to where our partners work. And so that really unlocks a lot of opportunity for us to not only empower the individuals, but also to keep them up to speed.
Mm.
And as everybody knows, the innovation of products is happening again, hours, days, not weeks and months anymore. And so giving that information and empowering everybody at the time of in the in their workflow, essentially, right? Is probably the best thing that we can do. And so we are building agents that empower our partners to become more productive and insightful as they're engaging with customers. So this is an exciting time for us. We're actually starting with something that's pretty basic, which people understand. I think every single partnership program has a deal registration program.
Yeah.
Um, and if you really think about all of the work that happens before a deal registration, it really starts to embed account insights, account intelligence, product knowledge, bringing that all to the forefront to uncover new opportunities. And then what happens after? How do you engage with the respective folks within the organizations between us and our partners? And so this agent really starts to become that almost the force multiplier to ensure that all of this information is readily available at the time of engagement with customers all the way through to delivery and onboarding.
And code, I think that is, you've started with the deal registration. Any surprises doing that you would say, or was it pretty straightforward?
I would say obviously adoption, right? You are changing behaviors.
Mhm.
And so I think this is the problem with AI today, right? The adoption of AI is all around education and changing, behaviors that have previously been there. And so I wouldn't necessarily say it's a big surprise, but it definitely takes a lot of change management, heavy communication, and ultimately, the ongoing practice behind it.
It's so true. And Kristen, let's have you go next. But I think for me, this people side, the people side of AI is is how it's going to happen. And Jess is going to give you a stat that was actually shocking that came out this morning as to where we are really in this adoption.
Yeah.
Kristen, what's your thoughts on where you start with the partners? I know you're doing your internal teams, but
Yeah.
talk to us about the ecosystem and what you're doing.
Yeah. So I think so. First of all, I'm jealous. That's all I have to say. You guys sounds so great. I mean, we've been a little bit slower of an adoption. I think that, some of the things that I've spoken about is, the integration over the past, couple of years where Talus had acquired Perva, and there was a lot of focus on integrating our ecosystems, right? And that took time, and now we're at a place where we're now starting to look at the tools that can help us, right? So to what was talking about before about productivity and engagement, the big thing for me right now and for Talus is how can we make, channel marketing easier to work with partners? So,
Mhm.
looking at different TCMA tools and how can we meet partners where they are? How can we have them come into a platform and, it's everything for me. It's translation. We have, in a global organization, I've got 20 different languages that I need to be able to support. Then not only taking cybersecurity and the complexity of the Talus portfolio and making sure that partners can come in, and if they want something in French and English,
Mhm.
that the tool is talking to them in their native language and then also
Mhm.
serving up content in their native language. So these are all things like still like, I started the AI journey with AchieveUnite last year, by doing the AI prompting class, with my team. And I have to kind of what Co was talking earlier about its change management. And I think
Mhm.
going back to people not being afraid of using AI, but being more comfortable in their prompting and
Mhm.
knowing how it can help them and kind of get away from this stigma of like let's all be real. Like when we're all interacting, you can kind of start to tell when things are AI, right? But
Mhm.
if you know how to prompt and you know how to work with the tools, then it helps you. And I think that's just something that I have been on this road with you guys of being able to understand. And so
Yeah, true.
now the second part of that is, working with you guys to do the advanced prompting class. So getting more tricky, like being able to really kind of look at those different layers, to be able to again be more productive, scale, and then keeping in mind, the TCMA tools, our partner portal. How can we start and making it easy for our partners to do business and engage with us?
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jess, why don't you weigh in? I think one of the things I'm most excited about is you're doing these literacy and these workshops and
Yeah.
you and your team and these initiatives, and you're doing it in the world of a superhuman or the world of a Talus instead of just generic. And is that making a difference, do you think, in adoption?
Education is definitely the road to adoption. But the other
Mhm.
thing is the one thing that both Co and Kristen said, which is you have to surface that experience where they're already working. It can't
Mhm.
be another icon on a page that you have to navigate to or something else you have to log into to use a tool. It's got to work alongside you. And I
Mhm.
talk a lot about that. I was teaching a class yesterday all about AI to a group of channel leaders, and I made that statement like AI is not the thing that is in front of you that responds to you. AI is the thing that sits next to you and allows you to be
Mhm.
more productive and allows you to get work done in a faster, more efficient
Mhm.
way. It allows you to extend your more creative things, your more
Mhm.
strategic things, or you can take on more of that because you're not doing the
Mhm.
day-to-day stuff. So I think it's really important, education across the board. You referenced the research. It just came out today from Section that said only 3% of the workforce is doing AI in a meaningful way. The other 97% are still either naysayers or they're still very early in their experimentation with Gen AI. And so at the C suite, they might be saying, oh, yeah, we have AI, we use AI, and the board might think it. But that final mile is where you have to often work the hardest because those are the people who 3 years ago were told that their job would be on the line if they even touched AI, right? And now we're rolling it out and we want them to use it, but we're not giving them a lot of comfort in what how they should be using it or what they could be using it for. So if it starts with education, but then the next thing is that you've got to figure out where that work friction is. Where's the thing? Is
Mhm.
it deal registration? That's a great use case. Who likes filling out a form ever? Nobody,
No.
right? So,
What about an
so
18-tab business plan? Anybody
I
like
know.
no,
that?
nobody likes an 18-page business plan, right? And so we can use AI and the superhuman sort of deal registration agent able to take into account all the things that you are doing contextually and can really um, create that deal registration and get you 98% of the way there. And maybe you're just putting the final touches on it and you're hitting go. And that, leads to a higher amount of deal registrations that are accepted because, everything is filled in correctly and validated at that agent level. So there's not a lot of noise in the system. I think deal registration is also a place where there's a lot of noise. And so
Mhm.
putting that into an AI wrapper, I think is the low-hanging fruit, if you want to say that.
That's great. The godfather of AchieveUnite is on, I see him on this Zoom. He actually wrote the foreword to our book, Partnering Success. And I remember when we first started the company many years ago, he said, one of the things I really like about you all is you're 3 or 4 years ahead. And he was always 3 or 4 years ahead of his time. And we are in a transformation right now with AI. It is going to reinvent everything we know to be true.
Yeah.
And for me, that is, I find, and Co, you and I have had these kinds of conversations where that is exciting. All this productivity stuff is amazing, but the reinvention of the way work gets done and how you can help your partners and your customers, to me, that is where the real magic is. And we are just, Kristen, Jeff said yesterday, we're just beginning to scratch the surface, like little
Yeah.
tiny dents of that,
Yeah.
And so I just would encourage you, as you all are thinking about all of this AI, that you're thinking that way too, because that'll then back you into what you need to do short term. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think one of the keys is to not go overboard at first. That saying, don't boil the ocean kind of thing. I think you have to pick
Yeah.
one thing and assemble a small team of people that really want to lean into this and really want to make it successful and figure out what that workflow looks like. Where are those points where you can interject AI or an agent or some sort of an agentic workflow to make them better, less taxing, better results, less time consuming, all those types of things, and then run that play. And if you haven't taken that first step, I think that's the first step that you need to take. And then the next time you do it, you'll learn from your mistakes, you'll learn from doing it, it'll be quicker, and it'll just become much faster all around. But uh, if you're listening to this, that's your first step. Now take your second step and go think about how we can actually put this in the place where work happens.
So I agree 100% with the pilots, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Co. And I also, and if you haven't read about the Joint North Star, it applies here. Sitting down and building that Joint North Star about what great looks like in something, and then backing into exactly what Jessica talks about, that will get you sort of that middle ground. And then, Kristen, I think you've done a great job of talking about, okay, once you do all those things, this driving adoption curve is really
Yeah, and if I could just kind of tag on to what Jessica was saying earlier, is that the fact of, you know, I will fully say, like, I was excited about doing the prompting class. And I wasn't quite sure kind of how the team, like I wasn't sure kind of where everyone was at with it. You would have think that I brought Santa Claus to the table. Like Jessica has been the shining star and the talk since we did that. Like the team was so excited about it because it opened up their eyes. So to
Yeah.
your point, Jessica, is finding out like, you know, where is that starting point, right? And where was that starting point for me? And then how can I continue to grow that internally and externally.
And Co, you could probably weigh in on this, and then let's start talking about case studies and successes. But everybody's like, oh, I already know prompting. I already know what I'm doing. I already know how to do this. Like, there's a bit of that on the other side of this. And then it's like they get in, and it's like an onion, or it's like a mountain. I don't know. There's some
It's an
analogy.
onion. It's an onion. It's an onion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I I think to Jess's point also is keeping it simple but keeping it practical.
Hmm.
And this is a great way to start, right? And I think part of the lack of adoption in general has been that fear factor, right? How do you
Yeah.
know that what you're doing is actually going to, one, either make you more productive, or number two, is the right information, right? And I know we're going to get into more conversations about that, but I think it is coming back into keeping it simple, keeping it practical out of the gate. I think that really starts the ball rolling,
Hmm.
and it overcomes a lot of the fear factor there.
So one of the questions that just came, how do you enable your partners on the agent if the average partner manager isn't AI savvy? other than we have to get them AI savvy. There, that was the conversation I had with someone at HP yesterday. It's like it's no longer an option. But
No.
is that too harsh, do you think?
I don't think so. I think it comes into degrees of enablement. I think the prompting course that Achieve Unite hosts, I think that is a great start. I think that's a common practice, I want to say now, right? Everybody's using either a tool like ChatGPT or Claude, um, and even, using tools like Grammarly and so forth, right? Have always been there, and how to utilize those tools in your day-to-day productivity have been there. And then it's a matter of, again, the graduation of moving into more and more touch points, engagement points with your partners, or even internal teams on how they collaborate. I think
Mhm.
those are ways in which, again, don't scare people, essentially just
Yeah.
on a path, essentially on how you evolve your teams, and also the touch points with your partners.
I have noticed this, but I'm going to put you one more time on the spot, Co.
Sure.
Since I had the privilege of being with your teams, do you see a generational difference of adoption of AI?
Ooh. Um,
Yeah. This was not scripted, so we're just going to
no,
hit
no,
up
no,
with asking these
generational. Yeah,
questions.
I don't think it's generational. I think it's approach and attitude.
Okay.
Mm.
I think there are
Okay.
people that are definitely more forward thinking, thinking about ways in which they can evolve quickly. Then there's those that are very afraid or are hesitant to move
Hmm.
quickly. I have not seen that at the generational level. I would see that
Right.
at a
It's more about individual growth
yeah, the
mindset,
individual.
curiosity, lean
Yeah.
in. Okay. I love it. How about you, Kristen and Jess? Any opinion on that?
No, I think Code just nailed it. I mean, I think
Yeah,
that's
I
the
love
thing is
that.
that you have to have that, that ability to change and grow and
Hmm.
adopt new technologies and not be so, it's the fear factor. So I
Hmm.
100% agree with Kyle.
And tech savvy. I look at
Yeah.
I look
I
at
mean,
my 17-year-old who just got home, uses Grammarly every day. Like they're so embedded in AI. They love it. They're so
Yeah.
advanced. Can't wait till
yeah,
they get in the
no. And I
workforce.
think and I think again, just if we go back, it's been the theme, like the education and the enablement. That's
Hmm.
that's where it
Hmm.
starts.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about real use cases. Oh, go ahead, Jess. You were going to say something.
I was just gonna say, like, I have heard stories for and against in every single generation that band that we could talk about.
Love it. I really
The
love this.
every the Gen Xers, the Boomers, like I've seen a lot of people really embrace this and be so curious and want to develop
Yeah.
their skills and understand and use it. And I've also seen kids straight out of college who like refuse to even go near AI. So
Mm,
you can make a
all over the
story
map.
for every generation. I do think that it's very individual. Your experience will vary. Yeah.
I think our ability to influence this growth mindset, curiosity, teaching that,
Absolutely.
making
Yeah.
sure we're hiring to that, making sure we're developing talent
Yeah.
in that, that is striking me right now as we're having these conversations. And you, as vendors, get a lot more resources than the partners do. So, how are we making sure we're getting the partners these skills as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah. I might even make a bold statement here. I know again where this is not part, but I mean, I think that is honestly, as vendors and working with partners, that I feel like is in our DNA, right?
Mhm.
Like we have to have that growth mindset. We have to be agile because of just the day-to-day of what we're doing, right? And we're
Yeah,
trying to be
right.
able to do that. So that just a food for
Yeah,
thought.
critical. All right, let's talk use cases. Let's talk some fabulous use cases. I know, Co, you have a couple that you mentioned the deal registration. Give us a couple more. What do you think?
Yeah, the two areas. So one, if I go back to what I discussed earlier, which is really starting to automate or introduce AI in as part of the engagement process, right? So things that you can obviously start to make a lot more efficient is obviously content that's created in communications. And that content really bleeds into also how do you enable your partners and actually help them create demand generation campaigns really quickly, right? If you think about, again, I'm going to date myself again, a few years ago, it took you weeks to take a campaign out. Now you've
Mm-hmm.
got tools that are readily available that can create a custom campaign on demand. And
Mm-hmm.
that really empowers your partners to move quickly. You guys discussed the point of even business planning in itself. A lot of that information is readily available. It's plugging in the right systems and the right agents
Yes.
where your partners can now engage on that data real time while they're talking to a customer. And
Yes.
so having that information through what we're building as part of this partner agent or partner manager agent really starts to put a lot of that information in their fingertips. And so our next big mission is really hitting on some of the work that Kristin's working on here, which is enablement. And so how do you actually inflow while they're working, start to serve up enablement content that can actually assist them in their engagement, right? Whether it be product information, industry information, data points that are more valid to the use case and scenarios that they're engaged in. I think these are real life scenarios in which we can empower partners to be a lot more powerful for their customer engagements in general. And so, um, we're starting with the simple engagement components, but I think enablement, real-time enablement, and ultimately getting them to a point where they're a lot more insightful in their customer engagements is going to be critical.
Great. Christine, give us some use cases. Then we have some really good questions that I want to get to from the audience.
Yeah,
Any
I
other use
mean,
cases for you?
yeah, so I mean, again, my theme is really has been around that internal adoption and that partner enablement. So,
Hmm.
internally helping our own channel marketers become more effective and scalable using AI. And then externally working with Achieve Unite on a North America program where we're going to help partners get more skilled and confident
Hmm.
in AI and prompting. So, partner enablement and AI, like we've been talking about, matters, right? We need to be, we give our partners so much content, but they actually don't necessarily know where or how to use it. So if they're better enabled on AI, they can be more effective with their campaigns and then
Hmm.
working with us overall. So it's really kind of leveraging what works for them and how can we make sure that they have that training. So that will be our focus for this year.
I love this concept of they get AI trained, these partners get AI trained, and they go, boy, code, that was the best product training I've ever had, And so they're learning AI and they're learning your products at the same time. And I love that idea.
Yeah, and I think that's what, so kind of blending that internal enablement with that external partner enablement,
Yes.
being able to do it kind of for me at the same time, it will be able to help us kind of
That's a
grow and
great
learn
point.
as well.
It's a
So to
great
make
point.
sure that we're meeting the partners at the right point that they want. So
I
that's
love
that's what
that.
I'm excited about.
I love that.
That is
Jess,
great. That is a
you
great,
like that code?
yeah. I think to Kristen's point there, um, you think about the various roles in a
Mm.
partner
Mhm.
and how many touch points do they have with your own teams and, personas, roles, jobs to be done with that particular customer. I think to your point that Kristen made earlier, which is partnership teams in general have always had to be very agile, mainly
Mm.
because no two partners are ever the same.
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
every customer scenario is different. And so being able to customize information real time, I think is going to be empowered by AI. And it's a matter of giving them access to the right tools when they need it.
Mhm.
And that's going to be really powerful as we start to continue to roll out
Hmm.
more automation and more AI usage in general.
I love this concept of let's have our teams and our partners learn together. We talk about that in
Yeah.
co-sell. I
Mhm.
love it in AI too because it drives a great behavior. And by the way, we might be generating pipeline at the same time. We're generating trust, accelerating trust. Okay, a couple of questions from the audience. What about new partner onboarding? And maybe Jess, you could tackle this because you're working with a couple of people in this arena,
Yeah.
clients. What's
Yeah.
your view of AI with new partner onboarding?
I, I think that's an excellent use case and a pretty easy one to take on as well. When we talk about onboarding, it's already mapped in a journey for us, right? You start here and you end here. And so that's a workflow. What are the things that everybody has to do? How can you drive some automation and intelligence and agentic workflows throughout that entire process? Makes it
Mhm.
much more engaging, and you can track it and report on it. You can do all of the things that you need to do around it in a set it forget it almost type thing. It's
Mhm.
one of those very high, easy to do workflows or work products with AI, because again, you're meeting the partner where they're trying to do that information or where they're trying to do that thing. You're not saying, come on to our portal and then click here and do that and log in here. You put them right on the side with that partner, and like have that partner walk through this. And if they get stuck, ask an agent what's going on. Oh, all right, I need to do this. Now I need to do this. And you can have automatic, communications sent out and things
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
Onboarding, a really, really good one. I think deal registration is another really great one. It tends to be very high volume, but also high friction.
Yeah.
And so using AI in those types of workflows, absolutely. I also think about business planning and QBRs and joint account planning and all that kind of stuff. Like there's so many places where you could lean in, and when I talk to leaders, there's usually a point in the conversation where they sort of space out for a little bit and they lean back or maybe they look away. And I can tell they're sort of multiplexing in their head about everything that they could do. And you always have to say, all right, let's start with one, and
Yeah.
one that has a lot of friction and would be so worthwhile to do this and run that play. But onboarding is definitely one of those where if it's not done right, you know that it throws off the whole relationship
Right.
going forward. So that's an opportunity to do it right from the start. So I love that idea.
Okay. All right, Co, here's another question for you. How can a successful partner manager leverage AI to increase their revenues or their partner engagement?
I
I know,
there's
it's a
a
good,
lot.
it's a
It's a
really
real
good
question.
question.
So I would say I think if you think about the entire life cycle of a partner and the engagement points that you have, I touched on creating campaigns and communication a lot faster.
Yeah.
And again, customized to the customer scenario, maybe even conditions and information that that customer may have shared out in the market, like looking up the latest press release or looking at the latest customer announcements and so forth, right? So you can really customize your messaging to the conditions that your customer has. So it makes it more personalized. Um,
Love it.
all the way through to the way that you actually interact and engage with the vendor rep, right? So you're creating this connection between your partner rep and your own rep to really start to uncover and drive I want to say an improved engagement, right? And more efficient
Mhm.
engagement, right? Because as the information is coming in real time. But ultimately, it is coming back into, how much information can you serve up at the time of the entire discovery process with customers, which makes things a lot more efficient.
Love it.
And with communication, with AI just being more real time, without the lag of, oh, wait, I got to send out this communication. I mean, nothing kills deals like time. And
Mhm.
so, if you can engage partners and your own sellers at the same time to be more productive and more enabled at the point of engagement, I think that just accelerates sales through and through.
So you and I were tutored or taught under Ron Roner and his 957 ingredients of why a partner does business with a vendor. And that is a PhD in the old world. In the new world, if we have those 957 ingredients coupled with the partner program and Co's value and information on that partner, we're going to get to a lot higher accuracy of why that partner wants to work with us.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I feel like that's a big opportunity for us is to help the vendor rep get into that partner and faster to revenue in
Yes,
this new world. Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Oh, this one's a good one. God, these questions are so good, you all. I love it. How do you define successful implementation of AI at the partner level? Go ahead, Kristen. I
Well,
know you know someone working very actively on this as well. So,
yeah, I mean, so I think for, someone said earlier, I'm a big believer of not boiling the ocean, or my other
mhm.
favorite one is crawl, walk, run, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're trying to be, you're dealing with change management and you're trying to teach an education. So right now, as we've been talking about how we bring this program to North America, it really is going to be about us being able to understand where our partners are with AI. So for me, it's measuring the participation, it's measuring the engagement. And I know what I call like softer KPIs, but the thing is that they show kind of what the journey will be, right?
Good
So
point.
for me, it's being like, okay, if I can go ahead and these are the partners that are engaged, they want to be on this AI journey, I can take them on that journey with me, right? And I
Mhm.
can actually, there's so many different things we can do from a channel marketing perspective, as far as having them be part of focus groups or leadership groups that will help us kind of drive what we're building. So I think that again, it's what I get excited about, is being able to bring this to them and then be able to kind of do it at the same time.
Co, what's your thought on this question? AI at the partner level. How do we measure?
Um,
Love it, Kristen. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, I think it is adoption of the new processes, right? And so as you're applying AI, you want to go back and you want to make sure that it's effective. And back to my earlier point, it's practical, it's becoming more efficient, right? I mean, the last thing you want to do is deploy something that makes it
Mm.
more difficult to engage with you. So I think constant feedback coming in from your partners,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
going back to, your partner satisfaction scores and understanding essentially how you're improving that. And I think just periodic check-ins is going to be your gauge there. I think the other measurement also is actually seeing how you can actually become more efficient as a partner. So I think that's a constant conversation you always have with your partners, which is, how burdensome is your business, right? And how difficult is are you to do business with? And
Mm.
I think if you can really nail that to where you're going after the practical things that your partners are calling out as friction points, and if you
Mhm.
can address those with AI, I mean, those could be really powerful.
Yeah, agreed. And one size does not fit all, especially in this, because if you're a company that has an AI software or add-on or something, your maturity model with your partners is going to be one thing versus if you're using it for efficiency. So
Yeah.
making this has to get customized by vendor, by partner ecosystem.
Yes, agree.
All right. Speed round of last comment. One thing you want to leave everybody with. We're going to save you for last, Jessica Baker.
Okay.
All right, so make it a good one, girl. Okay, Kristen, give us one last takeaway. I loved your key points.
Yeah, no, enable your teams, right? Like
I love
enable your
yours.
teams. Make sure that you're part of that process of driving change and adoption. Because ultimately we were talking about, earlier, it's productivity and engagement. So enable your teams and get them used to using AI and understanding how it can actually benefit them in their day-to-day work.
Love it. And I loved your point around get them learning together. That was a big one for me. Some
Yeah,
places you don't
no.
want to do that. Here it feels like you really can do that.
Yeah, and I think that's just something that will, is a focus for us. And so yeah,
Yeah, love it.
educate, educate, educate.
Awesome. All right, Co. Drum roll again. What you got for us?
So I couldn't agree more than what Kristen just mentioned,
But
which
you're
is,
not allowed to say that one.
yeah, I know, I
Oh,
know.
sorry.
Now we gotta think of something else. But what I would say is not only be a forward thinker, right? Build a team that is
Mm.
forward thinking in regards to how to build more
Ooh, I
efficiency and
love that.
scale.
That's a good.
The other is also how do you turn your team into industry experts, right, around
Mhm.
AI? And
Great
so
point.
if you want to talk with credibility to your customers, be efficient, be, a thought leader, be innovative with your customers, right? How do you actually empower your teams to go and be a coach to their respective reps, their respective partners? And that thought leadership, I think, is going to take them really far because that gets them a seat at the table to be not only a
Brilliant.
partner manager, but also an advisor.
Yeah, this
I
AI
think,
forward
yeah.
industry expertise.
Absolutely, because that is the hot topic. That's what everyone is talking about, right?
Hmm.
Whether
I
you are
love
selling
that.
AI or not, people are still
Hmm.
talking about it. So having your
Hmm.
partner manager be in the know of the biggest
Hmm.
industry trends right now is
Hmm.
going to help drive better collaboration with partners.
Excellent. That's great. All right, Jessica, take us home.
Yeah, I would say 2026 that AI is imperative at this point. And if you're listening to this webinar, then you know this is your time to lead. Partners have even more questions and more doubt around AI than you do in your organization. So it's time for you to really take a stand and push for those production things. If you did a pilot last year, if you haven't done anything, you have to start today. Find those moments that matter in your ecosystem, and let's figure out how we start to layer in the intelligence and optimize that context, move those workloads and things like that to give the opportunity for teams to be more efficient, more intentional with what we do, to have more time to be more strategic in our relationship and get that ROI for everybody. I also have one other thing here, and that is there's a whole conversation around trust that needs to happen. And it's really imperative that you sort of intersect that Gen AI conversation with trust because there's a lot of trust elements in here as well. So that needs to be part of the education and the thought process here. So this is your time. Let's everybody get out there and lead our partners to the promised land.
And we are here to help anytime. Please email or
Yes.
reach out to us. We'll be giving Christin Grenier and Co-Mystery cell phone numbers and emails and
Thank you. Just don't give home addresses and then I'm good.
and home addresses. Thank you so much for joining us today. I loved doing this conversation. You all did a great job.
Oh, thanks for
Have a
having us. It was great.
Thank you.
Great,
Yeah, it was great. Have a
great people to
wonderful
do it
day.
with.